अस्सलाम वालेकुम ख़वातीन व हज़रात, माय नेम इज़ सोहेब इकराम और सोहेब टॉक्स नंबर 4 में खुश आमदीद। तो यार आज का टॉपिक इज़ समथिंग दैट इज़ वेरी close to my heart. It's something that's very important to me. It always has been since I've been a kid. And I'm sure that a lot of you who are watching right now have had some experience with this as well. Not just, first-hand experience, but I'm sure you know people who are involved in, in this stuff. So we're going to talk about gaming. एंड जब भी गेमिंग की बात होती है तो उसमें 3 बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पहलू आते हैं जिन पे आज मैं भी बात करूँगा. वन बीइंग के देयर आर सम कॉमन मिथ्स अराउंड गेमिंग के यार इट हैज़ सर्टन नेगेटिव इफेक्ट्स और इट हैज़ सम सर्टन पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट्स. तो it's important to know what those effects are and how many of them are actually real. So that's number 1. Number 2, why is gaming so important for us, for our coming generations, and why it's something that should be promoted instead of saying it's a bad thing and no one should be a part of this. So that's number 2. And number 3, how is gaming a multi-billion-dollar industry in the world, and why it's becoming such a revenue-making industry, and why people in this industry are excelling and making money. So to start off, जब से हम लोगों ने होश संभाला है, gaming has been a part of our lives. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably had a Sega Mega Drive or a Nintendo entertainment system at your home, and we all have these fond memories of playing Sonic or playing Mario, or for some of us playing Pokemon, and all these old games that were on these consoles. And these memories for most of us are they're very carefree, and they're very happy memories. But over the course of time, जैसे जैसे वक्त गुजरता गया, gaming started to become something that was seen generally as a bad thing. And why that happened is a mystery, honestly, to me. I don't understand why something so positive that was a huge part of our lives is now seen as something destructive and toxic and negative. So हमने वो transition एक देखा from the early age consoles that had games that were barely realistic. I mean, they looked realistic to us at the time, but looking back it looks pretty bad. But we saw the transition from these old age consoles all the way to today, when certain games are so realistic it's hard to tell them apart from real life. And so the gaming industry has evolved, and there's just one reason why that would happen, is because games are in demand, and no matter who you are, where you're from, you must know people, or you might be one of the people who are involved in gaming daily, and there are certain advantages to gaming that again we'll talk about in a second. But first, this negativity that's attached to gaming in general. Now, where does that come from? What are some of these myths that surround gaming? And again, this is something that people generally talk about for their children, that I want to keep my kids away from games. I don't want them to experience that negative side of it also. What are some of these common myths? The first and foremost biggest myth around gaming is that gaming results to violence. And I have honestly never understood where that comes from, because if it was true, I mean, half of us would be psychos and serial killers, because we grew up playing these extremely violent games. GTA is one of them, and as simple as Pac-Man, you're running around and eating stuff. I mean, we don't generally. It's very weird to say that what you experience in a game is going to impact your personality and make you more violent. And this is specifically talked about when people in the US are talking about how they have these school shootings, and it's when there's a shooter, they say, all right, oh, he used to play COD a lot, or he used to play GTA a lot, and that impacted his his personality, and it showed him how to do certain things, and he got a gun and he did this. I mean, heartbreaking situations always. But as of today, there has been no study, validated study that has clearly shown a link between gaming and violence. Now, instead of me getting into these studies and कि उनके हजारों लोगों को उन्होंने स्टडी किया, बिहेवियर स्टडी किया, उनको वायलेंट गेम्स खिला के, I wouldn't even talk about that. I would talk about us. We grew up playing these extremely violent games, and we are not running around in the streets waving guns around. I mean, at least most of us aren't. So it's very weird for parents to say that gaming से वायलेंट हो जाता है बच्चा. दैट्स नॉट द केस. जनरली हाँ, गेमिंग से या जनरल एक जो बच्चों की एक हाइपर एक्टिवनेस है वो एक completely separate factor that has nothing to do with gaming. Certain kids who game are hyperactive, but that's because they have hyper imaginations and they have so much energy. But that does not mean that they're violent because of games. ये सारा कुछ आपकी personality का हिस्सा होता है. It has nothing to do with the games that you play. इसी के साथ साथ और एक बहुत ज़्यादा बात सुनने को मिलती है अबाउट गेमिंग दैट यू नो इट्स एडिक्टिव. इसमें आप बाहर नहीं जाते, यू आर स्टक इनडोर्स एंड यू आर नॉट गोइंग आउटडोर्स एंड बच्चे जो है वो पूरा दिन फोन्स में लगे हुए हैं, गेम खेल रहे हैं, स्क्रीन्स में लगे हुए हैं, गेम खेल रहे हैं. यहाँ पे आई वुड स्लाइटली एग्री कि there needs to be limitations on everything. As parents, as people, even if I'm a gamer, I need to have certain limitations because let's face this. Gaming is addictive. Okay, you get into it, and anything good is addictive. You can be addicted to reading books. I used to be at a time where I would read so much that it was an actual addiction, and that also resulted to me not going outside enough. And similarly, going outside is an addiction. You can be addicted to staying out of your house and roaming around town having fun, or even sports can be an addiction. There are so many things that can be addictive, but I don't know why gaming is seen as the ultimate evil. What our parents did with us was actually the best way to solve this. हमें दिन का 1 घंटा मिलता था गेम खेलने के लिए. एंड आई रिमेंबर मेरा टाइम जो था वो समवेयर अराउंड 3 से 4 बजे होता था. एंड वी हैड दिस होम पीसी और उसके ऊपर हम रेड अलर्ट और उस वक्त IGI आई थी और इस तरह ही गेम्स खेलते थे. एंड आई रिमेंबर देयर वाज दिस वन डे my mom was asleep and I sat on the PC and started playing Red Alert and टाइम का नहीं पता लगा. 1 घंटे के बजाय मैं 2.5 घंटा खेल बैठा. तो what did my mother do? I think she did an excellent job. What she did was कि अब कल कोई गेम नहीं होगी. And I was upset, but it was fair. Then that I believe is something that as parents we should be enforcing in our kids, that there are limits to every form of entertainment or anything actually. Limits होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And that is if it's the same for any other activity, it's the same for gaming. There is no special impact that gaming has जिसको अलग से treat करना पड़ेगा. It's all in the same avenue of controlling consumption of content, controlling how much time they spend in certain activities. तो yeah, but of course एक negative element gaming का ज़रूर है आजकल ख़ास तौर पे, which I think that is very important generally for parenting is instant gratification. जब control नहीं होता ना on activities, तब बच्चों को foreign gratification मिल रही होती है. They say we want something, they get something, and that makes your gamers hyperactive because if they have access to everything immediately, that turns them into people who expect to always get what they want. Now again, ये एक completely separate psychological discussion मैंने करना शुरू कर दिया, but you get the point, right? That all of that has nothing to do with the myths around gaming कि यार gaming ये सब कुछ cause करती है. This is general psychology. But on the other hand, अगर आप in negativity ये कि violence होती है, addiction होती है, घर में बैठे रहते हैं, बाहर नहीं निकलते, इनसे हट के अगर आप देखो कि positives क्या हैं, again, without getting too much into the studies and the statistics on this, positive impact on mental development has been seen in people who play video games, and I'll explain that step by step. Number 1, gaming. जब मैंने कहा ना कि यार एक आपको instant gratification is the worst thing that you can have in your life. If you have instant gratification, आपको जो चाहिए वो आपको फौरन मिल जाता है, then you will never learn to be patient. And gaming teaches you one thing. It teaches you how to lose and how to get better and then win. ये चीज़ आपके अंदर एक emotional resilience build करती है. I remember this was back in 2007. And gaming zones were all the rage at that time. और COD2 उस वक्त हम लोग खेला करते थे बहुत ज़्यादा, मैं, मेरे भाई, मेरे cousins, मेरे दोस्त. And I remember we went to this gaming zone in Bahawalpur once, and random एक team आई and they said कि यार मैच लगाते हैं आपस में. Like okay, it was a new map, हमने मैप लगाया कि मैच लगाना शुरू कर दिया. They beat us really really bad. And you know what happened? Instead of getting up and fighting them or saying oh ये हो गया वो हो गया, we went home, we downloaded the map and printed it out. We created strategies and the next day we went back और फिर हमने उनको नेड़े भी नहीं लगने दिया. But do you forget the game element of it? इसको आप एक general life element देखो. You lose, you go back, you learn, you get better, and then you win. ये चीज अगर आपके बच्चों में नहीं है, तो how? That's an important life lesson that your kids or you need to have. You have to work hard to achieve something. I know there are many other avenues of life that teach you that stuff, but gaming is a safe environment जहाँ पे आप इस तरह के lessons, ये तो life lesson है that you're learning in gaming. Again, I'm being very passionate about this because I experienced this. And फिर उसके अलावा फिर इसी story को लेते हुए आप देखो कि I have personally experienced this, that people who are gamers generally have better analytical skills. Games are not just, like एक चीज लगी हुई है और आप बस उसके अंदर लगे हुए हो. The games of today, or even any games in the past, they involve strategic thinking. They involve analyzing situations. चाहे किसी भी कैटेगरी को आप उठा लो, आप रेगुलर टाइप स्ट्रैटेजी गेम्स को उठा लो, you need to think, you need to analyze, you need to look at what your opponents are doing, you need to plan your forces, and you need to create your bases, and there is so much strategy in it. आप कोई first person shooter उठा लो, उसके अंदर you have to have really fast reflexes, you have better hand-eye coordination that is built through gaming, and you will notice that gamers generally do have better hand-eye coordination. Of course sports wale bhi hote hain, but this is another way. And similarly, if you even Sims utha lo, so a lot of us grew up playing Sims, right? And that also ends up teaching you a lot of stuff about decoration, about managing a family, about how you manage your finances, and then you have a job, you have friends. Again, ये सारा कुछ आप real life में eventually सीख ही लेते हो. लेकिन मेरे कहने का मकसद ये कि in a game, it's a safe environment for you to experiment, for you to learn, for you to explore things that you generally wouldn't do in your own life. And जहाँ तक violence की बात है, I would say games are a good outlet of aggressive behavior. Now I can't stand up right now, मुझे किसी बात पे गुस्सा आ रहा है, मैं किसी को जाके धक्का दे दूंगा, या कोई फटा कर लूँ. I can't do that. But put me in Red Dead Redemption and I will do exactly that when I'm frustrated. And people do that. And then you have people जो मतलब GTA खेलते हुए गाड़ी को सही से रोक रहे हैं, signals को follow कर रहे हैं. तो it's just a virtual world that it's like reading a book. And then the fact के यार एक storytelling होती है games के अंदर. I mean, if you like reading, if you like watching a movie, there is no difference between that and playing a good game. Red Dead Redemption 2 being one of them. Incredible storytelling, and the list goes on. मतलब कि आप कोई भी अच्छी AAA गेम उठा लो, कोई छोटी गेम्स उठा लो, it tells you amazing stories, and the best part is that you're part of that story. And you can feel it, and you can explore it, and you're actively taking decisions and actions. There is this game called Detroit Become Human, and it was free on the PS4 I think a year and a half ago, and still pretty cheap. And if you haven't played that game and you want to see what effective storytelling is in gaming, you need to play that game, because every decision you make in that game as the main character, it impacts the storyline. So जो story मैंने follow की उस game में, if you play that game, you'll have an entirely different story. Do you understand how immersive and how immersive that experience of playing a game is? It's not just कि ठाठा shooting हो रही है and everything. It's decision making. It's analyzing situation. And even I would argue कि जो लोग कहते हैं कि gaming does not make you social, अब तो online communities और gaming इतनी ज़्यादा social हो गई है कि you're always playing with your friends. I've found, as I've grown up, I've found that my friends, they've moved to different cities, they've moved to different countries. But when we get together and play a game together, that is a kind of entertainment, that's a kind of bonding and social interaction that is otherwise impossible in our lives. We all have jobs, we all have responsibilities, but that 1 hour that we spend gaming on the weekends, it's the social interaction that I need, because normally with someone who has responsibilities, it's very hard to go out and have social interactions and experiences. So it's an extremely effective outlet for entertainment, for socializing, for everything. So again, there are many advantages of playing games, of being a gamer, but no other advantage can overcome the fact that it has now become a money making thing. competitive gaming has taken the world by storm. It's always been around, it's just become so much more easier now. And you don't have to look far to see examples of how people are actually making money out of competitive gaming. अब लोग कहते हैं यार कि competitive gaming देखने का क्या फ़ायदा है कि it's someone playing a video game. Why don't you go and play that video game yourself? To that I would say, then why do you watch football? Why do you watch basketball or cricket when you can go out and play cricket yourself? So competitive gaming is people who are experts at that game. And you're watching them play and compete, and there are tournaments even in Pakistan. हमारे यहाँ PUBG के कितने tournaments होते हैं जो कि multiple brands भी उसके अंदर involved हैं, और हर साल इस तरह के बहुत सारे tournaments होते हैं जहाँ पे बच्चे they actually make money out of this. एक छोटी सी story मैं ज़रूर share करूँगा यहाँ पे, which is the story of Arsalan Ash. Some of you might know him. He is considered at this point in time one of the best Taken players in the world, and he's from Pakistan. And he, what he did was that the first tournament that he was a part of, the international tournament, it was, I believe, in Japan, and he had to, save up, buy his ticket, and then he made it all the way to Japan, and he uski beech mein flight delay ho gayi. He was stuck at an airport for a long time, and he got to the tournament. On the day of the tournament, he landed and he went straight to the arena, and they started playing, and he ended up winning it. And you watch videos of that tournament, in the final specifically, the commentators are losing their mind कि यार ये कौन बच्चा पाकिस्तान से उठ के आ गया जो दुनिया के बड़े बड़े प्लेयर्स को मार रहा है. तो इसमें आप एक पेट्रियटिज्म वाली चीज़ देख रहे हैं कि हमारे यहाँ के लोग पाकिस्तानी, ये वो बच्चे हैं जो वो टोकन वाली गेमें नहीं खेलते, और हम उसको कितना बुरा समझते हैं. आज वो लड़का दुनिया का टॉप प्लेयर्स में से है, और जापान से कहाँ से दुनिया से लोग पाकिस्तान आते हैं पाकिस्तान स्टाइल टेकन सीखने के लिए, क्योंकि टर्न्स आउट द वे वी प्ले इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट. It's a more aggressive kind of way of playing Tekken, but Arsalan opened the door for that, and he is now, I consider him, as important as the Pakistani cricket team, because they represent Pakistan on a national forum. He does as well. And interestingly enough, just yesterday, or I think a few days ago, the 2022 World Gaming Championship was happening in Bali, and he won a gold medal in that. Did you see it on the news? No, you did not, because इस तरह की चीज़ों को हमारे यहाँ अभी तक promote ही नहीं किया जा रहा. I don't know हम लोग किस दौर में रह गए हैं. लेकिन these are kids who are promoting Pakistan and bringing money into Pakistan and bringing tourism to Pakistan and promoting Pakistan as a community जहाँ पे gaming is good, and the gaming community and the gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. उसमें पाकिस्तान का नाम अगर आ रहा है, it is so important. इसीलिए we need to raise the next generation of Arsalans. And we need to have these, players like Man of Fire plays, for international tournaments. And there are so many good Pakistani players जो इस वक्त पाकिस्तान को represent कर रहे हैं. We need to encourage them. And we need to, encourage the fact that gaming as a profession is a thing now. And not just in competitive gaming. Then the other side of it is streaming. And a lot of kids in Pakistan are doing this right now. So there are two ways you make money in gaming. So I'll summarize the entire conversation into कि अब करें क्या, कि गेमिंग से आखिर ये बच्चे, हमने देख लिया कि फ़ायदे बहुत है गेमिंग के, हमने देख लिया कि यार ये जो मिथ्स हैं दे आर प्रीटी इररेलेवेंट, नो स्टडीज़ बैक दीज मिथ्स अप. तो अब सवाल आता है कि अब हम करें क्या. भाई दो तरीके हैं गेमिंग से पैसे कमाने के. वन, ईदर यूर टू गुड, और टू, यूर अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर. इफ़ यूर टू गुड यू कम्पीट, ठीक है, यू कम्पीट इन टूर्नामेंट्स, you go abroad, or take part in local and international tournaments. You make money that way. You get a brand endorsement, and then that brand pays you for representation and everything. So that's one way. The other way is that if you're not good, you create content for social media and gaming content, which is, I believe, one of the most straightforward ways that you can earn money in gaming. But again, not everyone is creative enough to be a content creator. I'd give you the examples of PewDiePie and Markiplier, because at one point in time PewDiePie led the gaming and streaming industry on YouTube, and even today he's still one of the biggest names on the channel, on the platform. But it's basically like these streamers are playing games, and their audiences are enjoying that experience with them. So it's a very collective kind of thing to enjoy an experience with a streamer who's playing a video game. And in order to do that effectively, these streamers are then either very funny, or they make they have these personas कि यार हम game खेल रहे हैं, this is what my personality is and everything. But generally, comedy based streamers are pretty common. They make a lot of money. And there was this interview that Markiplier gave recently where he said, I have too much money. And the interviewer asked, what do you mean you have too much money? How did that happen? He said, all I do is I sit in my room and I make videos. And then of course there's a guy who edits it and everything. But based on that, the fact that all I do is just make videos playing video games and reacting in a funny manner or screaming at a horror game, based on that, I feel like I made too much money. He has millions and billions of views on his videos. So yeah, that again, आने वाला दौर जो है वो हमारे दौर से बहुत different होगा. Gaming as a profession was considered तौबा in our time, right? कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. But now new avenues are opening up, and as people who are going to be nurturing the next generation, we should always keep in mind that these things are good, they are positive, and they can actually be a very solid career for people in the future. And with that, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and check out more content on my Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next one.